I love MMORPGs. There's something about watching numbers go up and min-maxing each skill point and gear attribute. Unfortunately, this entire game genre is in a desperate place at the moment. The popularity of quarter-baked Ashes of Creation is evidence enough that there is still a large player base looking for a new MMO to sink their teeth into, but we just don't have something worthwhile. We haven't seen a proper large-scale MMO release in the last 10 years. I guess you could count New World from Amazon, but unfortunately they just announced that that thing's getting shut down. Which is a shame, honestly. The game I thought was very fun. The action combat was best in class for MMOs, in my opinion. The only downside for me was lack of endgame content. There was just too big of a gap between when the game was released and anything new coming out for endgame players, which ended up causing my friend group to lose interest. All right, so what game are we talking about today? Well, it's not necessarily massively multiplayer. Soulframe is from the makers of Warframe, the spacey sci-fi ninja game, which lands in what I would consider to be MMO light territory. The game is currently in early access pre-alpha state, but even in the state that it's in, it's way more fleshed out than something like Ashes of Creation. While the game will be free to play, you can gain early access by purchasing a founder's bundle or picking up one of the many game codes from giveaways going around. Soulframe is a co-op action RPG with many instance areas, procedurally generated dungeons, hidden loading screens. They say no loading screens, but waiting for a rolling door to open for 20 seconds is a loading screen. Souls-like action combat, weapon crafting, rune collecting, skill upgrading, and more. So why is this the game to believe in for 2026? One, easy. It's already fun. A game at this early stage has no right being this fun. The combat feels good. It's easy enough to pick up, but there is a growing skill ceiling. When Elder Scrolls Online first released, I was so excited to have Skyrim with my friends, but it turns out the MMO was severely limited by the tech at the time, causing the combat to come nowhere close to meeting my expectations. ESO has, of course, greatly improved over time, and it's blossomed into an excellent MMO, but it never scratched the same itch. Soulframe brings me a bit closer to that, to what I wanted from ESO in the first place, while still being unique and feeling a little bit closer to Elden Ring, to be honest. It gives me a sense of exploration. Even in this early stage, the map has a ton of points of interest that you can bump into. It has definitely given me that exploration as a distraction feeling that I got from Skyrim, where I'm on my way to the current active quest, but I bump into something and I just have to check it out. So why believe in Soulframe? Mostly it's backed by a well-established company that already knows how to run a successful free-to-play game. It was never really my cup of tea. Love it or hate it, Warframe has maintained its popularity over the last 10 years in style. It's still a very popular game. I also think Soulframe is capable of capturing a more general audience than something like Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation, they're calling it a modern take on an old school MMO. I think that's great if you're looking for an old school MMO, but I think the general population is not going to bite into that game. I think they're already short on funding. I think that's why they have a kind of a scuffed early release on Steam at the moment. MMORPGs with controller support is another thing I've been in search of for a long time. Again, we got hints of this from ESO, and I actually really enjoyed controller with New World, and Soulframe feels great with a controller. I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage to a mouse and keyboard player. Final Fantasy XIV has a pretty excellent controller support, but the combat doesn't really lend itself well to controllers as you need just more options. Your action bar, you have multiple action bars, you're stacking action bars, you got so many actions you have to take. The controller just doesn't feel like the right fit there. One thing I'd like to see from Soulframe is a first-person view. Everything is currently locked to third person, and maybe I would try first-person mode and hate it, but I do wish it was an option to at least give it a try. This is actually one of the biggest reasons I was turned away from Warframe, to be honest. I really prefer shooters in the first person. Overall, though, I've loved my time with Soulframe. I will absolutely be putting more hours into it on stream, so subscribe, stop by, and say hi. See you in the next one. Bye!
Oh, no, 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 no. An unvoiced mind is simple.